We're talking about potatoes. I always have lots of videos on potatoes because it's one of my favorite things. You know, getting the little young baby potatoes are just so awesome. So we tend to get, I would say, more than what we need when it comes to potatoes, because we buy seed potatoes and sometimes we just get really good potatoes from the supermarket, like in the little bags, and they're just so delicious that we just think, wow, let's just throw a few in the garden. Then we end up with all kinds of varieties. We don't even really know what some of the variety names are, but we just know that they work out really nicely and they're just absolutely delicious. So we throw a bunch of the seed potatoes that we have into these pots, and they're just basically, we actually use recycled potting soil in these pots. So at the end of each season when we have our planters, we just dump them all out and put them into an area or on a tarp or in a bin or something, wherever we have it, and we save the old potting soil. And we save it really a lot of times just for things like these potatoes, or for sometimes perennial plants like a tree or a shrub or something we want to grow in a pot. It doesn't need really great fresh soil. So if I have annuals, I like to use fresh soil on those each year. These particular potatoes are super easy to grow. So we just put about 6 inches of soil in the bottom of the pot, and then we just throw in a handful of potatoes. We're not really worried, you know, how many. There's not really a specific amount, but about maybe say 4 or 5 potatoes in each one of these bins. And then we would put the 6 inches in, put the potatoes in, put another say 4 inches on top of that, and then let them push up. And then when they push up out of the ground and they get about maybe 4 inches high or so, then we add another 3 or 4 inches of soil. And that sort of stimulates the stems to send out roots, and sometimes even add maybe a few more potatoes on the sides. So it's really a nice touch. And with these ones, we also, we'll just show you in this pot here that there's still quite a bit of room here. We can add another layer of soil if we want to continue the hilling process. But it depends on the variety. If we don't know the variety, sometimes it's not worth hilling them. It's really just the late potatoes that need to be hilled. The early ones are determinate varieties, and they don't benefit from hilling at all. So that's where it's always best to know your variety of potato for sure. These guys are quite dry, and they're just on the verge of wilting. It's going to be a hot sunny day today. We're still in the morning. I would say within about a couple hours these things are going to start to wilt a little bit, and that's what we like to do with potatoes. We don't want to grow them soggy wet. We want to just to water them as needed. So whenever they look like they're starting to wilt a little bit, it's called flagging. As soon as you see them start to flag a little, then it's time to water. Give them a good soak, and don't water them again until they just start to flag a little. That's in containers at very least. In the ground, they often will go quite a while without much water at all. So really good plants, easy to grow. They're one of those plants that you can actually grow quite dry. So drought tolerant gardening, well, potatoes are one of those plants you could do for sure. So that's it for potatoes today. I'll throw in a few more pictures of when we planted these, and also you know, depending how it goes, I'll have a follow-up video a little bit later that just shows us dumping these out and have a look at those potatoes. So that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in to growercoach.com.